Let me first say welcome everyone. For today's yoga class, we're going to do a lot of floor work. So we're going to sit on the floor. If you have a yoga mat, that is nice, but you don't necessarily need it. A lot of the movements that we're going to do can just be done at in any place really, as long as you maybe have a little bit of a soft floor, and if not, maybe you can use a towel or a blanket just to support your knees, for example, if necessary. I'm just going to place it over here. And when I think we need it, we'll get to it. But try to come and sit in a cross-legged position for the moment. Maybe here you could already use the towel. I could sit on top of this towel. And by doing so, it allows me to sit a little bit higher. And therefore, it is easier for my knees to drop down. Personally, I always like to have my heel, the foot that is closest to my crotch, to have that one in the middle and the other foot in front, not even on top. I see sometimes people thinking that they need to place their foot on top, but if that's not a pleasant sensation, don't do it. You can even just have your one foot underneath the opposite knee. What I like you to find is a comfortable cross-legged position where you can place your hands on your knees. And once you've found that position, you can close your eyes. And we just take a moment here to arrive in our bodies, for example, or in the space that we are. And you can close your eyes and just notice if there's any areas in your body that ask your attention right now, so that we know that we have to be mindful, that we are considerate in our movement. So sitting here cross-legged, you can bring your attention to your buttocks. Just notice how you're sitting on the floor, how you're connecting with it, how you feel your feet, maybe part of your shins touching the floor. And then bring your attention to your knees. And just notice how your hands rest on your knees. And if you don't like that, maybe you have your hands resting on top of each other. That's fine as well. But if you keep your attention there, then notice if you can feel the weight of your hands resting on your knees. Maybe you can even feel whether your hands palms are cold or warm. Maybe you feel whether your hands are dry or clam. And maybe even on a more subtle level, you could feel like a tingling sensation maybe in your palms, but don't worry if you don't. But we're just here to observe for the moment before we start moving. Now relax your belly and see whether you can lift the crown of your head up towards the sky, towards the ceiling. And whilst doing that and lengthening yourself, you can relax your shoulders. You can open up your chest, your heart area, by bringing your shoulder blades just slightly closer together. And now notice whether you need to lengthen the back of your neck. Sometimes when we sit in a cross-legged position, like meditation pose, people tend to stick their chin up, but you can tuck your chin in slightly. And in that way, you just look straight forward. And whilst tucking the chin in slightly, you can move your head back just a little. Keep lengthening yourself. And at one point, you might feel that you're aligned, you're tall, sitting up straight. And you can relax your face, your forehead, your eyebrows. Relax your jaws, your lips, your tongue. And when you feel that you have this comfortable seated position, then you can bring your focus to your breath. From the moment that it enters your nose or passes your nostrils, just notice the air passing your throat, filling up your lungs with oxygen, but also noticing how your diaphragm is being pushed down a little and your belly comes out. That's what they call it, this belly breath. And on the exhale, your navel moves back towards your spine. Your chest comes in again, and this is undulating feeling of expanding and contracting, the rib cage coming out, moving in again. And just stay with this breath for a moment. And notice that you can breathe in as many counts as you breathe out, so you can find a nice rhythm. So I always count till 3 or 4. And then on the top of my breath, I pause the breath just for a split second. And then you exhale for the same amount of counts. And at the end, you can hold your breath for a split second again. And in this way, we just break up our breath in 4 parts. An in breath, a little pause, an out breath, and a little pause. So just for a couple more breaths here. Breathing into our body, but without trying to force it. If you think you need to have a very deep breath, then don't worry about it. It can be shallow for now. You're just becoming aware of it. And on the next exhale, you may open up your eyes. Now I'm sitting on something, and that always helps me in a seated position when I, for example, do a short meditation. But for moving around, let's just take away anything that is underneath us. Straighten your legs for the moment. So my hands are behind me, my fingers are pointing to the back, and I just have my legs straight, and I start to open up the joints by starting with the ankles, making circles here, inside out, outside in. Maybe you can crack your toes and squeeze them. And then place your feet as wide as the mat, or even wider than your hips. I'm going to sit like this for a moment so you can also see how it looks from the side. So my feet are wider than my hips. Breathe in. And on the next exhale, we're going to drop those knees to the left so that even the right knee can drop to the floor. And pointing the knees to the left, we look to the right. Exhale. Inhale, take the knees up. Keep the feet wider than your hips. And exhale, drop them to the other side. So dropping the knees to the right, we look towards the left. Feeling that slight twist in the spine, opening in the chest. Breathe in, take your knees up. Exhale to the other side. A little pause at the end. Inhale, take the knees up. Little pause, then exhale to the right side, looking towards the left. So I'm a little bit limited in my space as I'm doing this from my house, but just try to keep moving back and forth. And I think that you also, if you do this from your home, you also have to find space here to do all these poses, but I think we will be able to do it. There's always a way. Coming back to the middle, I'm going to turn my fingers forward, so my fingertips point towards my feet. I'm going to bring my feet a little bit closer in, maybe just a little bit wider than my hips. Now spread your fingers wide, open up your chest, and take your hips or buttocks off the floor. Inhale, bring your hips up, drop your head back, keep spreading the fingers, claw the fingertips into the floor, and exhale, chin to the chest, buttocks to just above the floor. So you bring them down, and then inhale again, bring your hips up, pull your belly in slightly, you can tilt your pelvic, drop your head back, exhale, bring your hips to just above the floor. We do this 3 more times, breathing in and out. Keep spreading those fingers, breathing in and out. Last time, breathing in. And this time you're going to stay up with the hips. On an exhale, push your hips up even higher. Keep pushing the heels into the floor. Spread your fingers, drop your head back. Exhale, slowly come down. And then lie on your back. Bring your right knee in. And then start to circle with your fingertips or fingers interlaced around the right knee. Lying on the floor, you can slowly, I always, in my classes when I was teaching in a school, I would see people go very fast, but we're not in a rush. So just go slow, because the slower you go, the more you feel. And you can intentionally, in the meantime, breathe head towards your right hip. So what I'm breathing right now, my attention is with my right side. So I feel it, I just keep on breathing. If there's any tension or any sensation in the hip joints that feels a bit tender or tensed, then just go slower. Or maybe you move back and forth over that area. Now pull the knee towards your chest, Or maybe it wants to move a little bit further out towards the armpits because that just feels better. Use your intuition. Lengthen the back of your neck by bringing the chin a bit closer to your chest. Relax your jaws. Breathe into your belly again and just notice any sensations arising without thinking anything of it. You just notice, it feels a bit tender here, or oh, this is really relaxing, but without wanting to have more of it or less. It's just what it is. And then with your left hand, we're going to take that right knee all the way to the left. So we're going to come into a twist. So my right foot can hook behind the left knee. You can just take it all the way to the left side. Let's take the right arm even further to the right, looking over the right shoulder whilst the right knee goes to the left. So another twist here. Trying to relax the right arm, the right shoulder blade maybe towards the floor. And just notice where you feel this, whether you can breathe into it. Last exhale. Coming back to the middle, pull that knee towards your chest, and then bring the left knee up as well. And we're going to switch sides. So the right leg goes down, the left knee, you hold on to it. You start circling inside out, outside in, whatever feels good. So there's no rule here. It's all about whether we can follow our intuition and whether we can follow up on what feels good. And keep that breath alive, of course. Now pull that knee closer towards you, whether it's towards your chin or chest or whether it's a bit further out. A couple of breaths here. Maybe with your eyes closed, but try to keep relaxing the jaws. Now with the right hand holding on to the outside of the left knee, you're going to bring that left knee all the way and just have to move a little bit to create space. So even if the left knee is not touching the floor, that's okay. I sometimes press the elbows into the floor so that I can lift the upper body and bring my left shoulder blade, in this case, a bit further down to the floor. So I'm twisting here, left knee to the right, my left arm to the left, looking over the left shoulder. Just a couple of breaths here to integrate this stretch. Coming back to the middle, bring your hips back in the middle, and you can just hold on to your knees from the outside and bring your knees as wide apart as possible and start to just make circles on the spot, or maybe just wiggle from the left to the right. Then bring your feet or your big toes together so your big toes can touch and your knees are just wider than the hips. So place your hands together, and on an exhale, you bring your shoulder blades off the floor and you try to reach for your toes. So every time, we don't even focus on the in breath, you just exhale, 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 exhale. Just keep on moving, using that core, activating it, trying to get your shoulder blades off the floor each time you exhale and crunch. Last time, hold it. Try to keep those shoulder blades off the floor so you feel your core muscles burning. Let's hold on to the outside of the feet. Relax your head to the floor again. Inhale through the nose and a deep sigh out through the mouth. In the meantime, you can push one foot away from you, then the other one, or just try to draw or pull both feet out a little bit further. And then slowly bring those feet together. Let your hands slide to the back of your knees. And we're going to move back and forth, rolling over our spine. Then come and sit on our buttocks, but see whether you can do it without touching the floor. I maybe was a bit late in telling you this, but maybe you can wrap your arms around the knees, so I'm still not touching the floor. Then let's bring the fingertips to the knees. You can try to bring your feet as high as your knees. If this is too difficult, guys, you can just rest your hands behind you like this. Otherwise, see whether you can bring your hands forwards. Now open up your chest, bring your shoulder blades towards each other, activate your core, breathe in, and maybe we can even try to straighten those legs. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your knees in, hold, up. I didn't want to touch the floor, but that's okay. Just lost my balance. You maybe did as well. But let's try it one more time. Just bringing the knees up, the feet in one line with the knees, hands straight, opening up the chest, breathe in. And on an exhale, straighten those legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can cross your legs and just fall forward. Relax your shoulders. Find your breath again. Just enjoy this little break. Now, seated in a cross-legged position, dropping your head or your body forward, let's move it a little bit towards the left so that we start to give a little bit of a stretch towards the right flank. I'm just trying to let my head rest on my knees, or maybe my chin. Maybe you can take that right arm a little bit further. Finding your breath. Let's go to the other side as well. So this might just be very easy and simple for you, but even if it's a very simple stretch, you can try to be mindful in the way you deal with it. So then it becomes more of a mindful practice where you observe the thoughts that you're having, maybe about this pose. Maybe your thoughts are drifting away to job or things you have to do for your work, other household errands, or anything that has been occupying your head lately. But just taking a step back and looking at all these thoughts arising and disappearing again. Nothing else, no judgments. Just listening to the sound of your breath is always a very nice way to keep yourself in the moment. Last breath here. Exhale, surrender. Coming back to the middle. And let's see whether we can roll over our feet. Coming onto our hands and knees on an inhale, open up your chest, the cow and cat movement to open up the front and the back of our bodies. Exhale, round the spine, press your hands into the floor, pull your belly in. Inhale, open up, and exhale. A more powerful breath here. Coming to a neutral spine. And we're going to take the right foot back, but keep it on the floor for a moment. Just press the right heel away. Engage your upper leg muscle, your quads, and then take the right foot up. Try to pull the belly in slightly. Take your left hand forward. Inhale, left hand and right foot a little bit higher even. Exhale, make a fist, elbow and knee past each other, round the spine. If this is too hard, you just bring both hands on the floor and only do it with the leg. Inhale, reaching forward and up. Exhale, round, elbow and knee past each other. 2 more times, breathing in. And exhale. Last time, breathing in. And exhale. Bringing both hand and knee to the floor. Straighten the left leg. Engage the left upper leg muscle. And then take your right hand forward. Left leg back and up. Pull the belly in. Push the left hand into the mat. Breathe in, right hand, left foot a little bit higher. Exhale, make a fist of the right hand. Bring the elbow and knee past each other. Look at your navel. Breathe out through your nose. Inhale, lengthen. A little pause. Exhale. A little pause. 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Last time. Breathe in. Exhale. Hands to the floor. Curl your toes. Now, bring your buttocks towards your heels. And just feel that stretch. See whether you can bring your knees off the floor. So you have to activate your core here. Then slowly start to bring those hips up. Maybe walk your feet a little bit further behind. And start to walk the dog, as they say. It's just bending one knee, straightening the other leg. Trying to stretch the back of our legs, but keep the feet where they are. And don't lift the foot off the floor. Just keep the balls of your feet on the floor always. It's just the heels coming off. And maybe you can even move your hips from left to right, doing a bit of salsa dog. Coming back to the middle. And with your knees slightly bent, you inhale, come forward, round your spine. Exhale, bring your knees to the floor. And then bend your elbows, but without taking the elbows out, you draw them in. Spread your fingers. Keep your buttocks in the air so that the chest and chin touch the floor first. Then lengthen. Inhale, press your feet into the mat so that your upper legs engage, your knees come off the floor. So you press the feet down. Let's see whether we can do it without hands. So this is a cobra. And just like in real life, snakes don't have hands. So you try to use your back muscles. Keep pressing the feet into the floor. Look forward, shoulders down. Exhale, hands underneath your shoulders. So we're going to do this again, but this time we're going to have a little bit of help. Use your hands, but try not to press. Just a little bit. Keep pressing those feet into the mat. Open up your chest and maybe even try to draw the hands back. So I want to try and bring the hands back, but in doing so, I open up my chest. Breathe in one more time. Exhale, look down, curl the toes, and on an inhale via the knees, press back, downward facing dog. Just walk it for a second. And then right leg on an inhale goes back and up. And exhale, bring that knee close to the floor forwards towards your chin. Keep it there close to your chest, but push your hips up again. Press yourself away from your hands. Inhale, the right leg goes back and up. Exhale, step forwards. And maybe you need to help yourself. As some of us maybe don't have the flexibility to step forward in one time. You can, with your right hand, help your right foot. Now I have this towel here. I could place it underneath my knee, underneath my left knee in this case, maybe a little bit further back. You can come up. I'm gonna open up the front side a little bit further. So coming into the hips, bouncing back and forth. On an inhale, take your hands up. Exhale, interlace your fingers behind your head. Breathe in. Press your head against your fingers and then lean back on an exhale. Just as much as feels good, right? Breathe in. Exhale. Last time, just look at where you're looking at. And exhale to your deepest back bend. Inhale, take your hands up. And this time, guys, we're going to take the hands in front, press them together, twist towards the right. But to help ourselves, I always do this. I place my right hand on my right upper leg, and then I take my left elbow to the right. I pull my belly in slightly so I've got a bit more space. Pressing the right hand on top of the left, twists. And maybe here you could find a deeper pose, a more challenging one, by curling the left toes and then straightening the left leg. Maybe walk it back a little bit more. Try to keep your right knee above the right foot. Twists. Maybe it's in your practice and you can take your left hand down, but this is quite difficult. And the right hand up. Try not to do it if it's too difficult. Just stay with what you can do. Breathe in. Exhale. Slowly coming back into a child's pose, just as a little break. It's always nice to come back to a child's pose where you have your knees wider than the hips. You can just find your breath. Just a couple of times, and we don't want to get too used to this relaxation pose, not yet. Then coming back into down dog. Walk it for a second, keeping both knees slightly bent if necessary. Exhale all together. Inhale, take the left leg back and up. On an exhale, bring that knee close to the floor forwards, and then draw it up to your chin. Push your hips up, press yourself away from the hands. Inhale again, left leg goes up. This time, stepping forwards, right knee to the floor, maybe with a pillow, or not a pillow, but a blanket or a towel underneath the right knee. Hands into the hips. We just come forward to find a nice stretch here. Inhale, take your hands forward and up. And on the exhale, we're gonna take the elbows to the outside. It's just a bit different, but still a heart opener. Coming forward, bringing the hands up. Exhale, maybe you come with your hips a little bit deeper into this pose, elbows to the outside. One more time, breathe in. This time, bring your hips back a little bit, hands in front. Press them together, twist. This time I use my left hand to just come deeper into the pose, but you don't have to go so far. Maybe it's just like around, just above the elbow. That part is pressed against the outside of your left knee. Left hand on top of the right. In the end, you might even be able to have your thumbs on your sternum, on that chest bone. That's how much you could twist maybe in your upper body. Curl the right toes, or maybe not, and you can stay with your right knee on the floor. Staying here, but wherever you are, find your breath again. If this is not enough, you could bring your right hand on the outside of the left foot and the left hand up. But in the meantime, press that right heel away from you. Find your breath, relax your face. One more time. Exhale, slowly come down into a downward facing dog again. On an inhale, come on the tip of your toes. Exhale, bend your knees slightly, look at your hands, and then you step or jump into a seated position. So we can finish off our practice. Inhale, take your hands up from the outside. Exhale, twist to the right. So as you can see, my left hand goes to the right side, palm facing out, right hand behind me. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, look over the right shoulder. Breathe in. And exhale. Inhale, look forward, take your hands up. Maybe look up to the ceiling. You can pull your belly in slightly, drop your shoulders away. Exhale towards the left. Right hand on the outside of the left knee, left hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale. Last breath here. Exhale to your deepest twist. Inhale, take your hands up. Exhale, bring them in front of your heart. You can place your hands on your knees if you like. Close your eyes for the last couple of breaths. And just notice how you feel. Listen to the sound of your breath, that nostril breath. That hissing sounds. Feeling connected with your body, with your breath. And you can open up your eyes. I hope you enjoyed this class. I wish you a very nice continuation of your day. And I see you next time. Namaste.